2NURFM News. For our sponsor, Tile Warehouse Warners Bay, the large floor tile specialists.
It's 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Jacinta Lee with 2NURFM Hunter News. A man missing from a remote Upper Hunter Valley property for more than 40 hours has been found and taken to hospital for a checkup. 72-year-old Bob Bain phoned the ambulance service just after 11 this morning from an abandoned neighbouring property on Warrondi Road. He was treated by paramedics at the scene and was then transported to hospital for further assessment. The Environment Protection Authority's investigations into AGL's Walk Ivory coal seam gas project have found no harm to the environment in the company's operations. The EPA brought in a team of experts to investigate after the chemical BTEX was detected in flowback water near Gloucester in January. Director of the EPA's North Branch, Gary Davies, says there is still room to strengthen AGL's licence conditions.
The BTEX looks as though it came from natural sources and it wasn't added to the hydraulic fracturing fluids, which is very good. But in relation to the BTEX chemicals, the investigation did show that we could probably tighten up the licence conditions that AGL has from the Environment Protection Authority.
Newcastle City Council's rates will go up by $504 over the next 5 years as the Independent Pricing and Regulatory Tribunal has approved the city's variation to go over the rate increase peg. The move will bring in an extra $283.6 million over the next 10 years, with 5 consecutive increases of 8% over 5 years. But IPART has put special conditions on NCC to secure the rises. Council must only use funds as outlined in its application and must report on the rises to the community annually. Port Stephens oyster farmers are struggling to get back on their feet after the April superstorm destroyed $6 million worth of stock and infrastructure. The storm hit 40 growers around the Hawkesbury River particularly hard, with many now on the brink of financial ruin. Soldiers Point oyster farmer Robert Demar says the industry was already in jeopardy after last year's mystery disease.
For the last 2 years, the Pacific oysters have died. So a lot of oyster farmers were just rebuilding. It takes 3 years minimum to grow a Sydney Rock oyster. So if you can imagine, it takes a long time to get rebuilt, enough stock to become viable. And yeah, this has just come on top of it now. I'm just going from day to day right now.
A green light for the Mount Thorley-Warkworth expansion shows the planning system is a failure, the Bulga-Milbradale Progress Association believes. The State Planning Department has forwarded its approval recommendation for the project to the Independent Planning Assessment Commission, including conditional noise restrictions and a 3,000-hectare conversation area to appease community concern. Bulga-Milbradale Progress Association Vice President John Cray says a review of economic sanctions allowing this and other projects is too late for the village.
They said they would review that particular piece of the guidelines, and I think they will, but of course that will not be until September. That'll be too late for us. So I think their intention is good, but their timing is pretty bad.
Lake Macquarie welcomed 86 new Australian citizens in a ceremony at Council Chambers today. The ceremony, held at 10 a.m, celebrated the final stage in the migrant journey of men and women from 24 countries. Mayor Jodie Harrison says it's a wonderful thing to be a part of.
Australia is a wonderfully multicultural country, and we're very proud of the fact that we are welcoming. We love having different cultures in Lake Macquarie. It's good for our economy, it's good for our social infrastructure, and it's good for our friendships, it's good for our neighbourhoods.
In finance, the All Ords is down 7 points at 56.52, and $1 Australian is buying 79.66 US cents.
Sport for our sponsor, NewcastleCheapestCars.com.au.
Newcastle Knights playmaker Beau Scott has been named to play for New South Wales in State of Origin 1. Meanwhile, Knights skipper Kurt Gidley will take to the field when the Knights meet the Broncos at Hunter Stadium next Monday, dodging suspension at the NRL judiciary. Gidley entered an early guilty plea for a Grade 1 careless high tackle on Tigers centre Chris Lawrence during the team's 22-12 win over Wests. It saw him temporarily leave the field in the 44th minute. The Maitland Pickers have announced the return of Trevor Ott to the head coaching spot for the remainder of the Newcastle Rugby League season. Ott replaces Noel Dent, who was forced to step back due to work commitments. And in motocross, less than 12 months after an accident which broke both his legs, Wood Rising 16-year-old Cooper Posniak has been selected to represent Australia at the World Junior Motocross Championships in Spain this July. That's sport. I'm Sarah Giuliano.